We've just been watching a UFO, something on UFO, and I wanted to talk about my sensing, my history in regard to, I think that I, like most people, was mainly concerned with just surviving, let alone discovering life in outer space. I mean, I just needed to survive from day to day, since my family are not too good at surviving. Like my father's brothers were, they were endangered species. And I was living with death. I mean, 3 years old, my 21-year-old uncle, my father's youngest brother, was killed in a rodeo. He was drunk and he didn't stick the horse and hit his head on a rock.
You know, I hate to bring this up, but I don't think there's anybody at any particular time that would go to a rodeo unless they'd been heavily drinking. Seriously. I mean, you're about to get your buttons beat off, your testicles removed, and all kinds of horrible things happening to your broken body. You're going to go in there completely sober?
Oh, I see. Well, I was born into this, and I don't know why I was born into this family, but anyway, my senses were attuned all the time, as a lot of people's are, I think, to just surviving, staying alive. Like when I was the first time, my first
staying alive,
first near-death experience was my mother insisted that I have my tonsils out at 15 years old. You know, and I told her, Mom, I don't need my tonsils out. I don't even sit very. Once in a while, I have a cold. What? No, you don't need your tonsils out. And then, this is why I was kind of an endangered species, because Mother decided that I should be the doctor's new experimental
Wait a minute.
case.
You're an endangered
and she was going
species?
Yes, I felt I was at the time. And she
I think I'm an endangered species just by talking or having you talk at me and letting...
Well, he's the one that brought me down here this morning early to watch this.
Yes, it was on the Science Channel, you know?
Yes.
And it was called Searching for Extraterrestials, you know, like SETI and real life.
I'm going to make a point here. My first near-death experience happened.
No, you can touch me, but
she had the doctor take out my tonsils without putting me out. In other words, local. Well, I probably went in and fell into a deep, what turned out to be shock, severe shock. And my mother sent in there, I don't know when she finally noticed that I was leaving the earth. And let me tell you the sensation I had when leaving the earth. I felt myself project into space. Something in me went zooming into space. I could feel myself going thousands of miles an hour.
Yes, and you've never come back, right? You're pretty spaced out.
Well, and here I'm talking to him about this unusual experience, and then as I got further and further into space, I started feeling what other near-death people near death have felt. This ecstasy. I was so happy.
How do you know it's
I was
somebody else
elevated.
feels?
Well, I've read a lot of these near-death, and I was elevated. I thought, oh, I'm so happy. I felt I was going to be seeing some people that I knew, that I would recognize, that I was, in a sense, what people talk about when they say going to heaven. And then all of a sudden I felt myself wrenched and my throat hurt, and I knew I was back down inside my body because it started hurting, and I didn't want to come back. I did not want that unpleasantness, but so that was my first near-death experience.
Yeah, I have a feeling that some of your relatives did not want you to come back either. I could name one for openers.
Anyway, you can kind of see the careless way that my parents were handling their children from this. Because my impression was that I didn't even need a tonsillectomy, but my mother had a crush on the doctor, so she was having us all operated on. Take anything to get to this doctor. And he was obliging by having affairs with different people. So, this was, but anyway.
This was
then
before Medicare and...
my second near-death experience
geez.
happened when I was 20. Now, mind you, I was supposed to be a pretty brilliant child.
Were you married at 20?
No. I was not married at the time.
So you can't blame your husband
No, I can't blame that. But I was at the University of Utah trying to fulfill my promise. As a
near-death
brilliant
experience all by itself.
student.
Utah.
Yeah, student. And,
Jeez.
well, I can't explain all the reasons why it happened, but I went to the school psychiatrist. He decided within 10 minutes that I needed to be taken by armed guard off to the mental hospital.
Well, I've decided
And as soon as I got in there,
the first time you came into my apartment, I knew that something was wrong.
anyway, as soon as I got in there, I found out that they were all getting electric shock, and I remembered, my near-death experience plus some other alarming things. And I told him, I said, "Hey, don't give me electric shock. There's something wrong with me. I can't have electric shock." Oh, they were acting.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you and who else? Everybody was protesting electric shock, but I'm afraid if you've done something to land in here, then your psychiatrist has deemed that you're seriously mentally ill and you need some shock treatment.
Your doctor's name, last name didn't start with an F or anything like that? Like
So,
Frank and
I didn't get any sleep for about 5 days. They hadn't decided whether to give me electric shock. And I was sitting in the waiting to see if my sentence was death, because I was convinced
What's
that
this
if they
got
give
to
me
do with extraterrestrial?
well, then just let me tell you. All of a sudden, I started locking up. I had the sensation that I could not exist any longer in this situation. My nerves were gone. I mean, I just locked up. I was more or less like froze. They called it a catatonic seizure, but I don't think that explained anything because I was headed right down toward death.
That explains a lot about your behavior.
Anyway, I was headed toward death. So I just went on.
You should be heading toward the light.
No, right in the middle of all of them, I proceeded to to be frozen up and dying. And I could feel myself dying little by little by little. Everything started
You're going to go cryogenic? Is that what you're saying?
And I wasn't able to talk or say anything. And they dragged me off into the bedroom, my bed, to my room and put me in the bed. And but they didn't do anything to bring me out of it. The only thing possibly they could have done to bring me out of it is say, hey, we won't give you electric shock, we'll let you go home. Maybe that would have brought me out, I don't know, but I laid there for 4 hours and slowly died. That is, I slowly quit breathing, went numb, blind, everything. I had my eyes open,
so what you're saying is you went straight lined? Is it right?
Well, I started to.
And you've never come back for 50 years?
I felt these involuntary gasps, then I quit breathing, and they were standing right around me, but they didn't recognize that I quit breathing. They left before they found that out. They seemed to be lost as soon as they left, I thought, my God, I'm dying, and I'm dead, and they haven't even detected it. So, this went on until I could feel my heart I was not breathing anymore. I knew in a second or two something was going to break and it would all be over. Irreparable damage, I would be dead. And then I came back. All of a sudden, I was able to resume living.